Welcome back to The Boys in the Iceberg, the podcast where we watch The Legend of Korra for the final time. I'm Caleb Ader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
Okay, so I realized that made it sound like it was the final time I was going to be Caleb Ader, but I really meant that it was the last time we'd be watching the episode.
This is your coming out story.
Yeah.
I'm officially going to change my name.
I'm transitioning.
Kalen Ader.
Is that Kalen?
Can it?
Can it?
No.
Can it Ader?
Can it? Is that the can it change to that? Like, is that a good woman variation of your name?
Kalen?
Kalen?
Maybe Kaylin.
Let's get some feedback from our guest, Caleb.
Yes, we have with us today esteemed podcast guest, and you might know him from other works, such as he draws sometimes. Please welcome Elijah Hallworth.
I'm back.
Yeah, guys, Elijah's here for this very ultimate episode,
Prestigious.
which
even.
I say ultimate because penultimate means the second to last. So therefore, by the process of elimination, or maybe the transitive property, ultimate means the very last episode.
All right, we didn't need any of that, but you want to go ahead and just jump into this episode, Caleb?
Should we like talk about how it made us feel first? Because I mean, this is the end of an era, right? And Elijah, feel free to just like say anything, anytime.
I feel worse after watching this episode.
Do you?
Yeah.
You feel worse after watching this episode 5 days ago because many
It's
obstacles.
progressively getting worse since 5 days.
The more you think about it, the more you realize that your life is worse off having seen this.
There's a constant twinge of pain where the appendix was.
So that's how I feel about it.
I just mean that the more, every time I come back to it, I go, eh.
So you have, since this is your first time on Legend of Korra podcast that we've been doing, you have not seen any episode besides this one. Is that correct?
This is the only one I've seen, and if this is anything like the rest of the show, I hate it.
Honestly, I think this is the worst episode of this entire show.
I will have to say, for all we've been ragging on this show, this is definitely the worst part of it.
And I'm not dogging on that from like the ending. Like,
Oh, I am.
I'm not. As a gay man myself, I am definitely pro-gay.
And
But
you'll figure out what we're talking about here in a minute. We haven't really revealed any of the plot points of this episode, but I will say this last episode is not a referendum on the entire show.
it's not it's not good at all.
I think that the first season definitely had its merits. The second season was kind of a wash, except for we got some Avatar 1 and those flashbacks. Third season, you got Zahir, so you got me there. Fourth season, I didn't enjoy.
We didn't need the fourth season.
No, but this is definitely the lowest point, and it's very fitting that this is where they ended the show.
Now, this isn't gonna, I mean, it's not saying much, but it seems like they didn't set up much for how it ended. Now, I know we'll talk about it later, but...
So, Elijah, what you saw in this episode, if you had no prior knowledge of what happened to before this episode in the past episodes, then you would be fine, because everything that happens in this episode happens in a vacuum that you would not need to even know what's going on to be able to comprehend it.
That's what it felt like. I mean, actually, no, it didn't feel like that because obviously I didn't know because I haven't seen hardly any. I've listened to some of the podcasts, and that's all I have knowledge-wise.
As a reference.
Show. Right.
I think, though, for a show, I think a show is just like a movie series. You should be able to jump into... I realize it's going to have more overlapping because shows lead like 1 week to another week. Like, you should be able to jump into and at least enjoy that episode, confusion or not. Like, you could jump into a Lost episode, and it's good. You're going to be confused as all get out, but it's still a good episode through and through. This episode, like you said, you showed up with no idea of what happened in the entire show except for what we told you. And then you watched this last episode, and it wasn't even good. Like, you said you didn't like it when we finished it.
So,
right. Yeah.
I think that what you're saying...
That was addressed at Elijah, not you. So.
I mean, I'm going to just jump in here. What you're saying about a show needing to be good, I don't know if that really applies to a narrative half-hour show.
No, it's not. It's not the idea of it being independent, like movies can be. Like if you watch Spider-Man 2 is a good example. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. You could watch that by itself, right? That's a film. But like shows, you can, and it's still a good film. Shows, you can dive into any episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, any episode, and it's good. At least better than Korra. And You can watch any episode by itself, out of order, whatever. The Clone Wars series, you can watch those, and I did watch them out of order, and they were good. Like you should be able to sit down and watch any episode in here, and it still be, even if it's a fluff piece, it should still be a good episode. This episode just crumbles at every point.
So before you went into that long diatribe, I did understand what you were saying in that regard. I didn't think that you were saying that it needed to flow all together. I don't think that you necessarily have to have a good episode of a half-hour narrative episode, because I do believe, and they release these online.
If it's your ending, though, if it's the ending of your series,
no, I don't think so. I know what you're saying.
I should let you finish your thought.
Yeah, you probably should. With Lost, if you jump into any episode, that's a good episode. I don't care if it's the Nikki and Paula one. That's a perfect one to jump into, even though a lot of people do not like that episode.
Billy D. Williams is in it, so you might as well like it.
Yeah, well, yeah. What I'm saying is that with this show, I feel like the episodes do not need to be good on their own. I feel like this should be like
this is something you should binge watch.
Yeah, this is definitely something that you need to binge watch and not like watch 2 episodes a week and then delve deep into them. That's not what the show is.
So Elijah, I'm going to drag you into this, because I'm not even looking at you. If you were to binge watch this entire series, do you think it would? This ending would have been better for you? Like if you would have gotten more context?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't have any connection.
It wouldn't.
I mean,
you never say so.
I feel like it'd be better though, just because I have no connection to anyone.
I think that helps actually. If you're not like we're not invested at all in any of the characters.
But I've binge watched this series, and when I binge watched it, I hated I might be an exception to the rule, but I hated this last episode. Like it wasn't good to me at all.
No, it's still a bad episode, but I think that if you had this be a bad episode in a better way, it would work better. As long as things still came to a resolution for the entire series, you can have this be a bad episode and not just spit in the face of everybody who watches the show.
That's one thing I want to talk about too. I'm almost like a cigarette. That's one thing I want to talk about too. Is that you said a good resolution? It doesn't.
No.
Because it's your series finale should tie everything together in a little bow. You can leave things like untold and whatnot. Like they kind of leave like the,
you know how
a series finale should be.
How Avatar: The Last Airbender tied everything in a little bow. And Zuko goes, "Where's my mother?"
And then it's like that was cool. That was actually good marketing to do the comic books.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But because everybody's like, I don't know. But with this, you're kind of like, man, I don't know what's going on. And then they throw something at your face that hasn't been anything or hasn't been addressed at all in the entirety of 4 whole seasons. And we talked about this while we were watching this, that they invest hardcore into a different aspect of Korra's relationship with somebody else.
Even in this episode,
right before the ending happens.
Literally right before.
Like I didn't know anything about like this love interest, and I was like, oh, they're gonna get together.
Yeah, no, that would be your first
literally
thought.
In the last 3 minutes of the show. And I think to go back to earlier, I think actually if I had watched the show and cared anything about it, I would be more upset because I would just be furious that it ended like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
So, yeah.
And I'm not furious. I'm a little peeved.
I'm outraged.
I'm a little peeved, I'll tell you that.
That would be like if Jack ended up with Saeed at the end of Lost. Albeit would be super dope because Saeed's awesome. But I don't know, Jack
Saeed was already dead.
A little whiny baby. But like you get what I'm saying. Like these 2 characters that didn't really have any like I don't know, relationship
they
status.
were hardly friends.
Yeah. Like and then
Korra didn't write to her for 6 months.
That's so. Look, okay. The thing we're talking about here is we're just kind of tiptoeing around it. The Asami and Korra relationship, which if you were any part of the fandom whatsoever, you might have wanted those 2 to get together. They call it shipping in the fandom universe. Let's tone it down here a bit, guys.
No, let's not. Let's bring it back up.
We're
We're gonna bring it back up. I'm gonna executive decision. We're bringing it back up. Not toning it down.
People call that group.
Stay down. Caleb, stay up.
I'll go up higher so that you can tone it down a little bit more.
So they called the ship Korrasami, and I hated it. I did.
You coming back up? Can I go?
Yeah,
can I
it's
go
fine.
down?
We can meet in the middle now. I'm fine for you imagining 2 characters to get together. Whatever. A lot of people want Castiel and Dean to get together in Supernatural,
Which is ridiculous.
Like that, I'm fine with, but it's not canon. So, but with the Korrasami thing, like Dean and Castiel, there's actually some kind of relationship there.
Yeah, but you
like
know how
they spend a lot of time together. But
You know how Dean's super straight the entire time?
But like with Korra,
Wait, hold on. Would it be gay? Because are angels necessarily like...
I don't know.
I don't think they have gender.
Huh.
So, I mean, why not?
They just want Misha Collins and Jensen Ackles to get it on.
Yeah,
that's all they
definitely what
really
it is.
want. But with this, they don't set up the Korra and Asami relationship at all.
No.
Asami shows up, what is it, halfway through the first season?
Now, I can already hear you out there in comment land, all the comments we get on our episodes, that you're saying, oh, well, they're just setting it up to where they're going to have a blossoming relationship. This is like the first adventure they're going to go on, and the relationship's going to develop into something else. Well, no, because you don't just like stare into the eyes of a friend as you go into a spirit portal. They stared very deep in each other's eyes.
Yeah, I've actually been to a spirit portal with a friend one time, and we didn't do that.
Absolutely not.
You're not
I
even
would
supposed
never
to look
do
at your
that.
friends in a spirit portal. It's
taboo.
Spirit Portal 101. Come on.
This is like the most lewd thing on the show. A spirit portal deep eye stare. Absolutely not.
I'm surprised it made it through.
Well, they had to put it online. That's what happened. They pulled it off of Nickelodeon because it was just too raunchy. Okay, with all that said, why don't we actually jump into the episode now? This episode was titled X-Men 3: The Last Stand. And Harley, do we have like a sort, maybe something that like sums up the episode, like up top, like kind of goes over,
like an overview?
Oh yeah, kind of like that.
We do indeed.
Oh, is this me? Is it my turn to talk? Because you never let me talk any other time. F*** you. Having infiltrated the giant mecha suit, Lin and Seiya move to disable the cannon. Mako and Bolin make their way to shut down the weapons core, and Korra climbs to the cockpit to face Kuvira directly. With the cannon disabled, Kuvira tears the arm from the mecha with the Buffon sisters inside, tossing it into the spirit wilds moments before Korra blasts her way into the cockpit, sparking a ferocious duel. Meanwhile, Mako destroys the suit's core with lightning, causing it to explode and split the mecha in half at the waist. Korra helps a wounded Kuvira to exit the wreckage and demands her surrender, but Kuvira, catching Korra off guard, escapes into the spirit wilds, where she finds the still functional cannon hanging in the vines and turns it on the pursuing Korra. The shot misses, and the weapon begins absorbing power from the surrounding vines, causing it to spin out of Kuvira's control. Korra uses her energy bending to counter the cannon's energy beam, and the massive amount of concentrated spirit energy tears open a new spirit portal. Korra and Kuvira are pulled into the spirit world, where Korra manages to convince Kuvira to surrender, which she does the moment the two women return to Republic City. Sometime afterward, Varric and Julie are married at Air Temple Island with Bolin presiding. At the festivities, Wu reveals his plan to abolish the monarchy to Korra and Mako. Afterward, Korra and Asami decide to take a vacation to the spirit world together, marking the start of their romantic relationship together.
Yes, thank you very much, Natalie, for that beautiful overview. You're not going to take it up from there? You're just going to leave me hanging. Elijah, to you.
She's so fast. She's the real rap god.
Yes, verily. Okay, so
Whoa, hold on.
Were you about to rap that? Did you get one word out and then you stopped?
Well, she seems very upset with you, and I didn't want to make her upset.
oh no, it's fine. She's a robot.
You can't upset robots. We all know this.
I mean, Isaac Asimov's rules, laws of robotics. I mean,
have
come
you
on.
seen Terminator? Clearly.
Have you seen iRobot? Please. No. Okay, so let's get into this episode. In case you didn't hear what that overview was saying,
Go back
having
and slow it down.
infiltrated to the giant mecha suit, Lin and Su-Yin moved to disable the cannon. I bet you thought I was going to read that entire thing. I fooled you. I really did.
That would have been a good bit.
It would have. Definitely too long. Definitely too long. Basically, what happens is they get into the mech. They take the mech down. Korra fights Kuvira. She bests Kuvira. They go to the spirit world. Am I missing anything?
I just like to add that from listening and not watching the show, I didn't know the mech was so big.
Oh, really?
I was like, was this thing like 10 feet? Like 10 foot tall?
Now, how large do you think it is? 50?
At least 10.
And you're like, they're going to cut a hole in the leg and go into the leg. I'm like, that's not going to fit.
No, it's just, it's like a Voltron thing, except for they're very tightly compressed into the leg. Okay, so they get into the mech, right? I guess.
Yeah.
What do they do after that? Because I know that they go and fight Kuvira.
Lin and Su-Yin break
yeah.
off to go take down the cannon, which
Yes, the
doesn't
cannon.
really serve a purpose. Korra goes to do her "I gotta do this alone" thing with Kuvira and beats her up. Now, the only part of this story that actually matters is Bolin and Mako. Because
Does it?
No, I'm not kidding. Because they're the ones that take down the entire mech.
Do we even hear from Bolin at the party? Do we never hear from Bolin again afterwards?
This is the thing I want to get to here in a minute.
Oh.
It's about Bolin and Opal. But Bolin and Mako are the ones who take down basically Mako are the ones
Yeah.
who take down the mech.
Mako sacrifices himself
They save the day.
for the greater good.
That would have been really cool too. Like it would have been like
Yeah.
a bittersweet thing because we were with Mako since episode 1.
Kind of like Fred and George.
And then
You just going to
What?
skip over what I said? Harry Potter?
Oh, forget that. And then I would have been more into like the Kurosami thing. Like she was devastated, and then she's like, she needs a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, I guess.
Like that.
Yeah,
that's
that
kind
makes
of
more
bittersweet,
sense.
and they're all moving on. Like that would have been nice. They're celebrating because their victory, but they're still sad because they lost their friend. That would have been cool, and I would have dug the Kurosami thing more, but I don't because it didn't have any build up whatsoever.
Yeah, I wish they would have actually gone through and killed Mako.
It looked like they were going to, and it was a good moment.
Yeah.
That was probably the best part of that episode.
Yeah,
when he didn't die.
Yeah, and then later he was just burnt on his arm.
Yeah, he just had a sling.
He took lightning straight to the heart.
I took a line, just one line he had.
I was told would kill you.
I remember actually when I was younger. I don't want to.
You took lightning to the heart.
Well, I was playing. I was jumping over a campfire when I was really young. My grandparents always told me not to. There was like an old story
About falling into a fire.
About having common sense when it comes to fire.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I was maybe 15.
The greatest generation.
So it's been a while for you then, all right.
So anyway, I was jumping over, and I caught an edge, and I fell right in the fire, right on my right arm, and I had to wear a sling forever. For a year.
I've been wondering about that sling you're currently wearing. Yeah, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
Thank you for the backstory.
Yeah.
So now, canon on the podcast, Elijah is 16 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure everyone realized how ridiculous it sounded. If you burn your arm, no aloe, no sort of topical healing, just...
That's what should have happened. He should have been carrying around an aloe plant in the other hand. Just constantly just putting it on his arm.
See, I think it makes sense because in our world, like what you said, we've got aloe, we've got like remedies and stuff like that.
You got mix.
You can like kind of get over your burn with like aloe, but in their world, all they have is like water bending healing. They can't do anything about that burn.
Yeah. Man, I wish they had a specialist.
Yeah, like maybe someone who we've seen
who's
in the
mastered
last
all
episode.
4 elements.
Yeah. Can Korra heal things? Is that canon?
No, she can't use.
She can just metal.
You know, it
bend.
is canon. The arm.
Oh, very nice. Yes. So Su Yin and Lin get into this giant spirit vine cannon. And Kuvira immediately decides, I don't need this anymore. I'm just going to rip it off. The entire arm. I'm just going to throw it in the jungle.
Throws it.
Did they do anything of significance before that happens?
Nope.
I don't think, maybe.
They get in it.
They definitely get in it.
They plan.
Do they like take a couple people?
She rips it off, and then they brace themselves by wrapping, like basically seatbelt.
Oh, yeah.
That was quick thinking by Lynn. Yeah, it was.
Except for they just do like the middle seat of like a car seat, in the back.
Yeah.
Where it's around their waist, and that's definitely going to cut them in half.
Yeah,
you got to go 3-point on
that.
That
Would be an ending I'd be down with too. Lynn and Sue get cut in half. Mako gets burnt to a crisp. It's just Korra. So Bolin blows up in the explosion.
I watched on Netflix. There's a new anime. I guess it's kind of older. It's called Devilman Crybaby.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got some racy stuff in there.
Oof.
But at the end, everyone dies and there's no hope left. And I wish that they would have done this with Korra.
If the only way that I accept this ending with what's her name, Korra and
Asami.
The only way I accept that is everyone else dies.
Yeah,
So
everyone
like,
dies.
Thinking.
They're the last
we
2
gotta
people.
do this.
And they're literally the last 2 people on Earth.
I guess we got to further the human race.
Wait.
I mean, but it would make sense to be like, well, there's nothing left here in this world. Let's go to the spirit world.
Yeah.
Then it would be actually.
No, they're just vacationing.
I know, but if everyone
If
else
you
was
didn't
dead,
catch that memo, come on.
I'm sorry, but spirit culture is not your vacation. Okay, you're just culturally appropriating someone else's lifestyle.
She's the bridge
you're
between
just
the
bringing
two
that
worlds,
up because of my dreads.
You're very white. So yeah, the cannon gets thrown into this spirit forest, which
coincidentally,
I guess does something because it powers itself on later.
it gets tied up by a bunch of vines, and since it's powered by spirit vines, which took them forever to figure out how to do it, so the vines.
No, it didn't. It took them a matter of weeks.
Okay,
It
still,
seems
a
like
while.
it's been forever, but it was not long at all.
But then now, just by touching these spirits, not directly to like any source of power, it just has to be holding the arm. It powers up by using all the spirits in the forest.
Kuvira didn't even control it, right?
No, okay. So what I think happens
Almost kills her.
Kuvira and Korra they fight. Okay, then they somehow get out of the mech. I can't remember, because then Mako and Bolin have to go.
I think the mech falls, doesn't it?
No, because Mako's still inside it, and it's still upright. So, and Korra and Kuvira are already gone. So they go down to the spirit forest, and they're like, I don't even think they fight in the spirit forest. They're just like, Korra's like, I believe in you. You can change. It's like, no, she has been murdering people. You need to put her down in the quickest possible fashion.
Like the dog that she is.
Yes. In front of her friends and family.
Yeah.
Which she has none of because she just exiled the only friend that, and I guess I would say it, fiance, that she ever has had. Maybe. But they're down in this forest, okay? And Korra's given the Avatar speech. They don't have the balls in this show to do what they did with Aang and actually have him struggle to do to know what he needed to do. They're just like, Korra just immediately forgives Kuvira.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh, I actually see a lot of me in you."
Of course.
And Kuvira goes, "Oh, we're not so different, you and I."
Even though she'd rather see a lot of herself in Asami, if you know what I mean.
I think I do.
Lesbians.
Oh, yeah. That's not where I was going with that. But yeah, they're down in this spirit forest, and the spirits are kind of mad at Kuvira.
There's no fluidity.
No. And maybe it's because we watched this 5 days ago, as we said. But
from my remembrance,
I do not think that anything flowed together whatsoever.
No.
Except for the energy through the spirit vines powering the cannon.
Nice. You know what this felt like to me? It felt like a very cheap version of the Desolation of Smaug. Like
Smaug?
Smaug.
Okay, thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
I did pronounce it correctly.
I would have jumped down your throat if you would have said Smog.
The Desolation of Smug. And so the first one, it's Desolation of Smaug is the second one, right? And the third one,
yes.
five armies. So
no, it was okay. So it was Hobbit: Unexpected Journey. Second one was Pathway to the Lonely Mountain.
Okay.
The third one was Desolation of Smaug,
Sorcerer's
and
Stone.
then the fourth one was split up into two movies.
Okay.
And that was what was it?
Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, Sorcerer's Stone Part 1.
Yeah.
And then The Hobbit Part 2, Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
I see. Now I thought there was another one like Into Darkness or something like that, like at the very end.
No, that was between Part 1. That was between Sorcerer's Stone Part 1 and the Part 2, Chamber of Secrets. That was The Hobbit Into Darkness Forever.
Was that before or after Revenge of the Jedi?
No, Revenge of the Jedi, Star Wars. You're thinking of something completely different.
I got completely confused there for a second.
Yeah,
there.
okay. So I don't know where you were going with whatever.
So the
thought
Desolation
that
of
was.
Smaug thing was at the very beginning of the Battle of Five Armies, because they set up the Smaug. The second one is my favorite movie, and I wish they would have of the Hobbit series, and I wish they would have killed Smaug in the second one. That would have been a really good standalone film. But in the third one, they're like, hey, here's 20 minutes of this character we set up 1 year ago in this movie, and kill him. Like that's the end of it. That's what this felt like to me. Like Kuvira was set up.
Not to get into spoilers for The Last Jedi, but that's basically what happens as well.
But like they set it up through this entire series, and then instead of doing it like just like doing her in the last episode or whatever, and then having this like little party through this final episode, they tied it over for like 2 minutes into the last episode of her being this bad guy still, and then they're like, hey, join us, and she's like, no, and then it ends. Like that's the end of it.
So are you saying that you think that this last episode would have been better if it was entirely party?
If they would have, yes.
I do not believe it would have benefited from that.
If they still would have been licking their wounds, because like this, in my idea of the show, in my perfect idea of the show, Kuvira would be dead.
Yes.
And she just had murdered her Batar Jr. That would have been cool.
My perfect idea of the show, Korra would have taken flame daggers and stuck them into the eyes of Kuvira, and her brain would have gushed through her nose and out her ears.
Yes, that would have been also ideal. But what I would have loved, though, is if this last episode was just like them all licking their wounds from losing their family members and whatnot. Like Pima's dead. We don't know where the baby's at. Maybe dead as well. He's out there mustering the Rohirrim. I have no idea. But
the baby's name's Rohan, in case you didn't know.
Really?
Yep.
Not making that up.
100%.
They straight
I
up.
said that earlier. I said the words most of the Rohirrim earlier.
They straight up stole Carl Urban's character's name, which is disgusting. No,
his name was
that's
Éomer.
Yeah, Éomer. Son of a. Edit that out.
No.
Anyways. He like led the Rohirrim though, so I mean, it's similar.
Rohan's the name of the
town.
No, the town is Edoras. Rohan is the name of the region. Okay, guys, let's dive deep here for a second.
Lord of the Rings lore.
Well, you're just getting names wrong. But we're going to dive deep into the Lord of the Rings. So, first off, you got Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, right? Are we all in accordance on that?
Yeah, I agree.
Secondly, you got Lord of the Rings Part 2.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Then, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, cool.
It's only 2.
But if they would have actually
That's
murdered
the name of the third movie, Lord of the Rings. It's only 2.
part 2.
The Twin Towers.
But they too soon. Come on.
Come on, 2012.
Come on.
Yeah, 11 years later, we're still talking about that.
Do you think it's 2012 right now?
Excuse me?
Excuse me? What? Okay, let's get back to Korra from wherever we were. This is why don't we just make the podcast, we talk about whatever we want to, and then go to Korra as a tangent.
I like that. I like that so much more.
Yeah.
For next time. Let's save that for the next one. The next episode's going to be us talking about stuff and then going back and talking whatever Korra episode we watched about that week.
Yeah.
I don't
know where we're at.
I think
Spirit Vines?
Natalie just read the overview.
Oh, yeah. So, in case you didn't hear what Natalie said, it was something like, having infiltrated the giant mecha suit, Lin and Su-Yin move to disable the cannon. Mako and Bo-Lin make their way to shut down the weapon's core, and Korra climbs to the cockpit to face Kuvira directly. With the cannon disabled, Kuvira tears the arm from the mecha with the Beifong sisters inside, tossing it into the spirit wilds, a moment before Korra blasts her way into the cockpit, sparking a ferocious duel. Meanwhile, Mako destroys the suit's core with lightning, causing it to explode and split the mecha in half at the waist. Korra helps a wounded Kuvira to exit the wreckage and demands her surrender. But Kuvira, catching Korra off guard, escapes into the spirit wilds, where she finds the still functional cannon hanging in the vines and turns it on the pursuing Korra. The shot misses, and the weapons begin absorbing power from the surrounding vines, causing it to spin out of Kuvira's control. Korra uses her energy bending to counter the cannon's energy beam, and the massive amount of concentrated spirit energy tears open a new spirit portal. Korra and Kuvira are pulled into the spirit world, where Korra manages to convince Kuvira to surrender. Gosh dang it. I can't do it.
You were so close.
Which she does the moment the two women return to Republic City. Sometime afterward, Varric and Zhu Li are married at Air Temple Island with Bo-Lin presiding. At the festivities, Wu reveals his... I wish they would have actually mentioned that the festivities...
Hey, read the overview.
At the festivities, Wu reveals his plan to abolish the monarchy to Korra and Mako. Afterward, Korra and Asami decide to take a vacation to the spirit world together, marking the start of their romantic relationship together.
So with that overview in mind, do you want to hear something that is 10 times better than the entire series of The Legend of Korra?
Why, yes, I would.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
So Korra kind of talks to Kuvira a little bit, and she's like, hey, just turn yourself in. It's all over now. And what happens? Some people show up.
I think
They shoot Kuvira.
breaks down, and then she offs herself, I think is what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Korra lures her in. She's like, it's cool, everything's going to be all right.
And then Korra has like a headpiece, and she goes, fire at will.
Yeah.
See, this is what I don't like about the fourth season. Remember the first season with Amon? With Amon?
Yep.
Amon.
And at the beginning of the first season, spoiler alert, Elijah, at the beginning of the end of the first season,
I'm going to go back and watch those.
the end of, you're going to want to unplug from this then. The end of the first season, Amon's brother comes up, and they have...
Tarlok.
Yeah, and murders both of them.
Is it Tarlok? Because
no, Tarlok's Korra's dad.
Are you sure about that? That's
Tone Rock.
Tone Rock. So it is Tarlok.
Son of a gun.
When I said Tarlok, I said it ironically because all of the water tribe names sound
Tone Rock,
the same.
Tarlok,
Unalak.
Varric, Unalak. It's just the
Katara. Korra.
Katarik, Korik. Yeah, no, I see it.
Sokka. I mean, Sokka's kind of there already.
Graham.
That wasn't her real name.
That
was her slave name.
Oh.
Okay, so Kuvira is lured into a false sense of security, and then they murder her via firing squad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I remember the episode.
I wish that's what would have happened, which is why I don't like, I guess, yeah. I don't like this season because they didn't murder the villain. But it was dark. Remember the first season? It ended dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens, Elijah? Let me picture this for you. So they're on a boat.
I mean, legitimately watch the first season, though.
The first season's pretty good.
Okay.
So they, like, even though we dogged on it, don't watch the first season of our.
I mean, it's not
Korra's.
Avatar The Last Airbender good, but in a vacuum, I would sweep my house.
So at the end of this season, the villain and the brother, they reunite, and like he's crying and whatnot, and the villain's like monologuing out to the sunset, and they're
saying
on a
how
boat.
everything's gonna be good now, Uno.
And then the
villain lose or win?
Then the villain he lost, but
Well,
the brother, like,
villain escapes.
Escapes.
And him and his brother are reunited, and he says, "Hey,
it's a moment, like they're having a good moment.
we're gonna start a new life together."
And the brother's like, "Yeah, we are." And then
as
he grabs
gay incestual brothers.
Nope. And then he grabs a gauntlet, and he opens up the gas tank of the boat they're on, and he sticks the gauntlet over the gas tank, and
The gauntlet has electricity in
and he
it.
blows up the entire boat and kills them both.
Murders his brother, and it's
murder suicide.
It's a veritable murder suicide.
The villain does it?
No,
The villain's brother.
Or the villain's brother?
So okay, let's just dive back into the first season.
Let's watch the first season again.
I should insert the audio from the episode we did this, but I'm not because I don't have time. So at the first season, the bad guy Amon, you're like, oh, he's not a bender, but he can take people's benders away. He hates benders, and then you find out he's a water bender, and his brother is a councilman, and so at that point you're like, oh, well, this guy's working with him. Turns out not the case. They were split up. And they kind of reunite at the end of the last season.
It's heartfelt.
It's a really good moment. And dude Tarlok, who is Amon's brother, decides that the world would be better in it. The world would be better without Amon. So he decides to sacrifice his own life to kill Amon as well. Because Amon can take people's bendies away, and it's just too powerful.
It's heartbreaking.
Sheesh.
And Amon's like, yeah, we can go on and live a better life. Like he's going to move away from that.
And in this one, Kuvira surrenders and Korra's gay. So, apples, oranges.
Yeah, you win some, you win some.
Yeah, I mean, overall. Okay, so Kuvira, I think Kuvira is going to surrender, and Korra's like, hey, please don't shoot her. And then the spirit cannon goes off. Something happens to Korra opens up a new spirit portal, which is apparently something that she can do.
I don't remember.
I know that a new spirit portal is
It's
open.
outlandish. That's what I
Yeah.
remember.
I thought that the cannon opened up. It said you said in the overview that.
Would you like me to read that?
Well, you haven't yet. I keep hoping you will.
So I think that it's kind of okay. So what happens is the cannon starts going off because the spirit vines recognize that Kuvira was murdering their counterparts in the swamp.
Recognize
Private parts.
Yes, both of those things that you said we shall address individually at a later date. They recognize that Kuvira has murdered their sister spirit vines, and they start
brother.
Well, they start taking control of the cannon, and just it's going out of control. It's melting buildings. It's shooting people, I guess. And Korra uses her energy bending in order to compact it, and that force blows a hole in space and time. And Korra and Kuvira
and kills Stephen Hawking. And now we're at the present day.
Korra and Kuvira are taken into the spirit world where they live happily forever as lesbians.
What about,
And that we don't really have much to say about that. None of us are really aggravated that they're
I'm
lesbians.
fine with Korra and Kuvira.
Pretty,
That's pretty good. I think that they set it up well.
Korra and Kuvira, that's cute. I'm content with Korra and Asami though.
Wait, what are you talking about now?
The lesbian things.
Wait, Korra and Asami got together?
You think
I thought
Korra
that was
and Kuvira got together?
No, because
they hooked up like in the middle of the season, Korra and Kuvira, but now Korra and Asami are together.
At the very end of the episode, Kuvira sits down by Korra and goes, "You know what? I'd like to take a vacation." And then they go into the spirit world.
No, that was Korra and Naga. You missed that part. And then Asami shows up in third
Well,
wheels.
then who's Kuvira?
I'm all kinds of turnaround, honey.
Thank you very much for those sage words of wisdom, Elijah. Of course, I know that Kuvira and Naga didn't get together. What do you think I am? Okay, so at this point, Korra and Kuvira are engaged in just a whole bunch of cliches. Kuvira goes, "I actually see some of myself in you." Typical bad guy saying that the hero is just like them.
And the typical villain says, "It's too late. I can't undo what I've done," or some nonsense like that. Some bullshit.
So Korra and Kuvira work out their differences in the spirit world, and then crisis averted. Everything's back to normal.
The spirits have something to say about all that.
The spirits gang up on Kuvira and murder her. Name one movie where that happens.
No Country for Old Men.
Does that oh, yeah, okay. I haven't seen No Country for Old Men.
I'm
thinking more like sort of an Ewok sort of thing.
I just know that. Is that the movie where they have the cattle?
That's the movie where Javier Bardem has an awful haircut.
Yeah, but don't they execution style with a?
Are we talking about the Ewoks still?
No, no. Yes. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Javier Bardem
is an Ewok.
Has a terrible haircut. I always get No Country for Old Men mixed up with There Will Be Blood.
There will be old men.
And when I say always, that's the sequel to both of those movies, actually.
This name is the same.
Have they ever done that? Tied in two movies with a new movie?
No, but
Except for like the Marvel
I
movies.
have no idea. Maybe.
I mean, that's
Probably. They're doing Men in Black, actually. Men in Black and 21
I was
going to
say they're doing that with the next M. Night Shyamalan flick.
Unsmeagable.
Unsmeagable. That's where Andy Serkis plays Bruce Willis.
Unsmeagable.
They couldn't get Bruce Willis, so they just
Andy Serkis. Who else would you get?
He gets an Oscar for mocapping Bruce Willis. Finally, the respect he deserves.
In his greatest role yet, Andy Serkis is Bruce Willis, not Bruce Willis's character. Let's make this movie. I'm serious. Let's
get
make
Andy
this
Serkis
movie.
on the phone now.
Anybody do an Andy Serkis impression?
No, no. It's just like
I think he sounds like Smeagol. I think that's how he talks.
I don't know. Yeah.
You
They
said
typecast him because of his voice. They're like, this guy.
You said I don't know, like you really didn't know, and you should know, Harley.
I know Andy Serkis. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, let's end this episode. Dear God.
Oh, we definitely. Sorry, I'm way far away. We definitely need to talk about the lesbian ending.
Have we not? I thought that
Not
we
enough.
talked about it. Okay, so
I think you wrote down the time of how much effort they put into it.
yeah, that's true. First, let's
preface it with how much they work up the what's his name?
So we got to get to the party.
Mako.
Yeah,
We got to get to
Polo.
the party. Did they talk about? And I think Harley, this would be a perfect time for you to segue into the topic you wanted to talk about most:
The lesbians?
Bo, Lynn, and Opal,
Oh, I forgot all about that.
because they
the lesbians.
they host a wedding for
Varric and Julie.
and Miss Moon,
Characters
as I
we-
like to refer
Characters
to her
we
as.
don't even care about. So we don't care about these characters, Varric or Julie, and they've been around for
I mean,
what?
speak for yourself. I, for one, don't care about them.
Elijah, you have your input?
I don't care about them.
All right.
Do you even know who we're talking about?
I saw them and I go, I don't care about them.
Okay,
So it's unanimous. We all care about Varric and Julie.
absolutely.
So they have the wedding, and they completely just nix the couple of Bolin and Opal. We've only been with Opal for 2 seasons, I think 2 seasons. We've been with Bolin since episode 1.
That's true.
Like, that should
Do
be...
we? Okay, so do we even get him at the party?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
We should know. We're talking about this show.
Yeah.
We should have paid attention.
No, we did
We also shouldn't have recorded the episode 5 days after we watched the episodes. But, hey, you win some, you lose some.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know what you're referring to there. But yeah, you do win some and you do lose some, and we did lose some. Bolin, that is. I don't know where I was going with that.
And we lost some dignity for the show.
Did we?
When Korra and Asami became lesbians.
That's true. But before we talk about that, we gotta talk about Mako and Korra a little bit. You know, the OTP, as they like to call it.
You mean a lot of it, Caleb, because they hammer that home.
Kind of. Mako says, you know, I'm your friend, Korra, and I'll always be your friend and nothing more than that. And then Korra goes off.
No.
And what that means to me is, I love you, Korra. Please be my wife.
That's not what he said at all.
Verbatim.
Is that not what you got?
Not even the words that he used.
Well, I don't have the quote here, but I mean, it's paraphrasing.
Something, something, something. I think we
Dark
should get
side.
married.
I mean, that's the general takeaway, I think.
Basically.
I think that's what the general public gleaned from that.
And also, yeah, when I watched it, I was like, oh, so they'll get together. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Elijah didn't even know who these characters were. And he's just like, yeah, those guys are going to bang. And they
that's
don't.
just your heteronormative worldview that you're trying to push on all the lesbos.
Narrow-minded nonsense.
Yeah, you're like,
So PC.
and then you say lesbos.
Yes.
Imagine like you're standing in front of a crowd of people like that are
Lesbos?
all of them, and then they're all like with you, and then you're like all these lesbos, and they're all just like, whoa.
Wait a second. I was up with you until you dropped the lesbos.
Oh man.
Okay, so Mako and Korra, they do drive it home. Even not in so many words, I would say, but the sentiment's there, I feel.
They built it up through 4 seasons, and they even had the clip show
Yes.
where they reminisced about the previous 3 seasons of it. And then we have this ending where they're like, hey, Mako's like, I'm still here for you. I always got your back. Like that's cute. And like even the look on her eyes is kind of like, yeah, I got your back too. Like
Yeah.
it's cute. And then
We're going to be together forever.
and then we cut to a character who we get very little of. We get the little bit of her that we do get. We get a forced backstory with her and her father that lasts 2 episodes, and it dies. Literally, he dies, and that's the end of that. Like nothing else happens with Korra or Asami, and she comes in halfway through the first season, I think, and interrupts Mako and Korra's relationship. I don't know why Asami's still in the friend group. Like I said last time we talked about this, because she showed up just for Mako, and then Mako made out with Korra over Asami. And so...
Over Asami?
Well, I think Korra kissed him, and Asami saw it or something like that.
And Asami was underneath him at this point.
She was.
Yeah.
It was like that scene from Zack and Miri Make a Porno where the girl poops all over the cameraman. It was really weird.
Is that a movie?
Have you not seen that?
I have not seen it. I
Gets
know
me
it's
every
got
time.
Seth Rogen in it.
I don't like poop jokes, but gets me every time, man.
Does it? Right in the feels.
It just... Yeah.
It hits me right in the feels.
Okay, so we don't get much of Asami, I think, is the takeaway there.
In the entire series, it's not just the relationship. It's the entire series. We don't get much of Asami.
So what I would like all of our fans out there to do, all the icebergers, if you will, would you go back through the entire show and like frame by frame tell me how long Asami has in screen time, how long of that is devoted to Asami and Korra, and how long Mako and Korra are devoted to? I think that could give us a more reasonable outlook on this.
I guarantee the Mako thing outweighs the Korra or the Asami thing.
I know how much time we spent with Korra and Asami in a relationship-like setting.
Now, do you roughly know, or do you have like an exact
Time code?
Oh, you have an exact time code.
Yeah, so would you like the time code or how long it was?
Both.
Okay, so it was from 2024, not the year, mind you, the minute in this episode, to 22:06, which comes to a grand total of 2 minutes and 46 seconds.
Now, that
devoted.
math is correct. Elijah, punch that on your calculator. Is that correct?
I mean, it's not. So first of all,
All right, cool.
we get that's about 0.26% of the show.
That is a very, very
That
tiny...
cannot be right.
Roughly.
Oh, no, it is 0.26%.
I thought you
so
guys
it's
hashed
less
this
than
math
1%.
out beforehand.
We did, and I wrote it down.
It was
and
supposed to make us look professional.
I looked at it and I said,
Pop it
"Oh,
right
that's
out there.
0.26%," when I thought it meant 26%.
That was
Which
26%.
It's not right. 1/4 of the show was the final 3 minutes.
But so they don't do anything with Asami. They definitely don't do anything. Okay, I shouldn't say don't do anything because they Korra sends only Asami one letter.
Yeah.
And that's it. Through the entire series, they have their moments where they're all together at once, and they have the group hug with her and Mako. If you guys want to just nitpick and claim that they actually have moments together, yes, they have moments where there's other people involved.
Yeah.
It's not just her and Asami.
Most of the second season was Asami and Mako being together.
Yes, we also had that.
Yeah.
Like
There's probably more time.
with Mako and Asami.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean,
But he's probably right.
so think about yourself. Put yourself into the shoes of Mako. Here is
Done.
You had a like sort of a thing with two girls, right? And it was like back and forth, like, oh, maybe I like Asami now. Well, Korra's not so bad. And then they go off together into the spirit world.
Like, it's bad enough.
I guess I didn't either.
It's bad enough one of your exes turns to liking the other sex.
Yeah.
But both of them do. You kind of question yourself.
And
like,
to each other.
what is wrong with me as a person?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what's wrong with Mako if you'd like.
Please tell me.
He was in the show. I mean, get another job, dude.
I want a standalone series of Mako pre
That'd be
Korra.
cool.
I think that'd be pretty dope.
It would be cool to see a show outside of the purview of like the Avatar.
Yeah.
You don't really. Do you understand what I said there, or you just?
The core question is, do you understand what I said?
Well, I mean, technically, down to its basis sense. Okay. So yeah, that'd be cool to kind of see a show where it doesn't have anything to do with the Avatar. It's just like a regular.
I think it'd be cool to
vendor.
see like the Avatar things going on in the background. Like it doesn't take.
It doesn't
the
really.
forefront.
Yeah, it doesn't like directly affect him in any way.
But you still get to see like the characters moving around and like, oh yeah, the Avatar just did this. Like, oh, I wasn't in town for that or anything like that.
Oh, cool! The Avatar.
Oh, dope, man! I just missed her by like a day.
Because they would say that in the 1920s.
Dope. That's Wizard. And then
Nice, I guess. I mean, let's bring that back. That's a wizard.
I love that saying.
So when I say bring that back, that would assume that it was ever a thing to begin with.
Wizard? I think it was.
Was it?
It was like in very vague like 90s Disney shows.
Okay. Vague 90s Disney shows.
Like watch Hocus Pocus. I think he says it once or twice.
Is that a show or a movie?
It's a movie.
Okay,
He
thanks.
definitely says tubular.
Nice.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right. So tubular.
Isn't there like cool Zippo tricks in there?
Now, was it semi-tubular?
I don't remember. Never seen it.
You could have said off the wall things about this show, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? You're right.
I just have one question. Was it semi-tubular or totally tubular?
Nar.
I guess we have to move on.
Funnier in my head.
So in summation, and no, this is not an essay I would have written in high school. We don't like Korra and Asami, right? At least together or separately.
Right.
They don't belong together.
No, they
And
do not.
as I said, as a pansexual man myself, I believe that they, everybody has the right to do what they want to do, but build the relationship, man.
Build a wall.
As a transgender man myself, I think you should just, you should do those. You should do it better. You should make better things for the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. So I think does that pretty much wrap the show up?
It does, but not in a nice little bow.
No, it's when you say it'd be like a tidy little bow, this is kind of untidy.
I would say it was kind of like that kind of drunk uncle you invite to Christmases occasionally because you're obligated to, and he wraps your present and your Secret Santa present in like newspaper wrappings he bought that morning. Like that's how they wrap this show up.
I cannot relate with that. I'm just gonna be straight up.
Do you not have an uncle like that?
I don't know, man.
And that's how we're gonna end Korra. I don't know, man. I mean, that pretty much, Elijah. You said that better than I ever could, and you've wrapped up Korra basically. So I appreciate that. Farewell, adieu, as the French would say.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Is that what it means in French?
No, but that's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay, nice. We're not done yet. What are you talking about? We got some more things. First off, we're gonna do trivia for one last time. Such a sweet, sweet sorrow.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Yes. So here we go. X3, The Last Stand, and Day of Colossus make up the only 2 episodes to be released together in Book 4. We need some like sad music beneath this, but I'm not going to do that. I could, and I'm not going to. I've made a decision. The waiters at Varric and Julie's wedding are dressed like Nuktuk in The Adventures of Nuktuk, Hero of the South. Elijah, that was a film series in the show, whereas Bolin was an actor.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
The necklace Korra wears during Varric and Julie's wedding is similar to the one Aang wore at Zuko's coronation in Sozin's Comet, Part 4, Avatar Aang, being circular in shape with 3 tassels hanging from it. I would have loved if they would have just kept it being circular in shape. Any necklace ever.
It went around his neck.
Yeah, the necklace Korra wears during Varric and Julie's wedding is similar to the one Aang wore at Zuko's coronation, it being a necklace. Although it was not explicitly mentioned during the series, the final shot of Korra and Asami holding hands while entering the spirit portal was meant to depict the evolution of their friendship into a romantic relationship.
Really?
So when we say evolution here, we're talking about like a Pokemon evolution where it's instantaneous and not as in like real world evolution over billions of years it takes place. This is more of a switch snap. You give Korra the Moonstone and she's a lesbian now. And here we got some subplot or subheadings, I guess you would say. I would.
I think they just tabbed too far over.
Yeah, the way in which Korra and Asami turn toward each other with their hands clasped together parallels Varric and Julie's nuptial pose from the wedding scene shown earlier in the episode.
Wow, now we understand why the wedding scene was so prominent.
Yeah, because they really wanted to drive home Asami and Korra's relationship.
Earlier in the episode, meaning literally 35 seconds ago.
The way in which Mako and Asami turn toward each other with their hands clasped together parallels Varric and Julie's nuptial pose from the wedding scene shown earlier in the episode.
You already read that one.
Okay, next one. The way in which Mako and Korra turn toward each other with their hands clasped together parallels Varric and Julie's nuptial pose from the wedding scene shown earlier in the episode.
A pretty scene. I don't know why.
Was that a reference?
That was just stupid.
Okay, moving on. The score that played during the final scene with Korra and Asami contains similar elements to the Avatar's Love, a song that was played several times in the first series during romantic scenes between Aang and Katara. How dare they take that song and force it upon us in such a way as to demean the entire first series of Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Sacrilegious.
It really is. To all the people who are in the Church of Aang, they're very mad about that. And it's a growing religion, really. 3 members and growing quite steadily since 2005.
Steadily.
Okay, so that was the end of the trivia. I wish that there was like a kind of a bow put on that. Maybe we could get some like series trivia, but no, it's just regular episode trivia. I guess that makes sense because they're not.
What do you expect? They've never been good.
The people doing the wiki aren't like doing it for us. That's how I always viewed it. I always viewed it like they were hand selected. Maybe that's why the overviews got longer.
They realized, hey, someone's actually doing this. We need to focus more on
We didn't check the later episodes early on in the season, so you never know. That could be a thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We got some emails here, though, that we need to give some credit to on the final episode.
We do. We have. I'm gonna go and read them off for you guys. We have one email, and it's from Maven O'Neely. And this is a little short and sweet for you guys. It says, "Hello, boys. This is definitely not your awesome friend and crazy cool guest, Mason O'Neill. It's odd though that your name is so similar, Maven. Maven O'Neely. But I wanted to know, now that Korra is finally over, what are your plans for a new podcast? Actually, we were just discussing this. We have plans to do a. Then I want you to cut me off, right? And then we have another email from our biggest fan, Van Hitch. It says, "Hey guys, I believe a big congratulations is in order. You've managed to get through all 4 seasons of Korra with little to no physical harm. I mean, there was that one time that Caleb punched me in the face for no apparent reason, but that was
deserved.
True. Unless that's truly what caused Harley's hit. Okay, we're going to skip that. If that is the case, then I suppose that's a real bummer, and that sucks. So I guess that's out of context. That doesn't make any sense anymore because I just...
Maybe you should have read it as he intended.
It's kind of bittersweet that you're about to record your last podcast. Well, we did just record the last podcast, so you're a little bit early.
Why don't you just really cut him down on a couple pegs, Harley?
With your witty banter and friendly repartee. Repartee. It really makes me feel like I'm in the studio with you guys, so thank you for that. I really hope you decide to do some type of podcast after this. I would honestly listen to anything you guys made. Thank you both for making my Thursday mornings a bit more enjoyable. Your loyal listener, Van. Hey, thanks, Van. You know what? Thanks for sticking around with us for
truly
all these years. It's been
100%
heartfelt. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Caleb's heart, especially from the bottom of Elijah's heart, we thank you.
I feel like you've really gotten to know us, too.
Am I a little bit upset that I didn't get a little mention in that email? Yes, I am.
I mean, how many episodes were you on, really?
3.
There we go.
Should have at least got like a special guest shout out. Come on, Van.
Why don't you shout out all our guests next time, Van? But anyway, to speak on that a little bit, Van, we do have some plans for a new podcast.
Wait, actually, I have one more email. It just came in.
What?
It says...
Is it from Elijah?
Your bank account could not be verified. Hi, Caleb Bader. Sorry, your bank account couldn't be verified for Sprigger's revenue. Oh, this is just... Never mind. Personal email. Sorry. Proceed.
I mean, you just, cut me off. I have a little bit of a beef with Spreaker because I put my bank account in correctly and they can't verify it. What's that about?
Maybe I don't know.
But Van, to answer to some of your questions, this is going so well so far. We do have plans for a new podcast, actually.
We do, and we will address those eventually.
Well, we're gonna do it right now.
Like I said, eventually.
Right? Yeah, so eventually in a couple seconds. We're actually going to be diving back into the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
With a twist.
Yes. Pardon my French.
And we are going to have a full-time guest. It'll be our third co-host, Elijah Hollis. We're just kind of inducting him in.
Probationary co-host. I don't know how I feel about it entirely yet.
Like, there's no contract set in stone, but he's got to work his way up to it. He's got to
bring the laughs. I got to...
Finish a sentence.
Yeah, apparently talking is held in high regard
on podcasts,
especially for this podcast that we're doing. Caleb, you want to talk to us about that?
I'm gonna get so much hate mail.
Get him off
from Van Hitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a new podcast. I don't really want to get into specifics, but we are going to still be covering some of the themes and stuff in Avatar: The Last Airbender that will continue to be uploaded on The Boys in the Iceberg. But we do have plans in the works to start a new podcast entirely that is not based around Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I'm pretty excited about it. Nothing set in stone yet, but be on the lookout for that. Anyone have anything they would like to add?
No, I feel like that was you pretty much did a really good job of
thanks. I
nailing
appreciate
that
it.
coffin shut.
And I mean, I'm sure it
is the one I will die.
I was going to say, I'm sure we'll talk about it on this channel.
When we upload the next episode.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
when
sure
we actually do that topic, we will definitely discuss that topic, yes.
I mean, like the next, like we said, be on the lookout, but we'll probably definitely...
Which
just you understand
this beautiful sentence structure that you just created reminds me
we're gonna have to really review Elijah's probationary period. I don't know about it.
We're working on a network, on a podcast network actually. And
oh yes, we do. We have some very exciting news. So when you're listening to this, it will be Thursday,
just for you guys.
That means tomorrow on March the 16th, there will be a new podcast on our network.
15th
premiering. Untrue.
Don't correct him.
Friday the 16th.
You said, "Oh, okay,
on that Friday.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think we got to let him go, Harley. I don't think he's working out. So yeah,
we'll have to put the gun down.
Can I have all the money I've donated back?
Absolutely not. That was a good faith donation, and we don't have the money. It's all in Bitcoin. I'm sorry.
I should have never. I'm sorry.
Okay, so on Friday, March the 16th, a brand new podcast featuring none other than esteemed guest Maven O'Neely.
Well, it's actually Mason O'Neill.
Mason O'Neill. We'll be starting a new podcast with
Zach Willis.
Yes, and I believe that there's one other person who I'm not familiar with.
We do not know the third person, which probably should have...
But that will be
It's called You Talking to Me, Talking to You. And they have an Instagram page pulled up, or God bless it. They have an Instagram page. It's called, their handle's You Talking Pod.
We're just really fumbling through this.
We really are. They have an Instagram page called You Talking Pod. They have a Twitter page called You Talking Pod. I don't know if they have a Tumblr page. I'm not sure if they're really into that.
They got a website, www.whitehouse.gov. You can just go there, find all the latest information.
Just donate
about the government.
Yeah, and that will keep you updated there. But we're really excited to welcome them to this podcast network that we've been trying to get going here for a while.
Theirs is going to be a bunch of different topics, though.
Yes.
A few different topics. They're going to be doing sports, and I don't know if they're going to be doing just some random banter.
I've heard that politics will be allowed.
No politics at all, and they're going to discuss current events. That's their shtick. So I don't know if it's a shtick or not.
I'd say it's a shtick. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I don't know, Harley. Should we wrap this episode up?
Elijah, what do you think?
Well,
sounds good.
Thank you,
Caleb.
Elijah. Yeah. Yeah, guys, for not the final time, but definitely the final time in this format. Thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me, and I don't know if I would have made it through without all of your support. Thank you so much. If you want to still check us out on Twitter, it's at Boys in the Berg, and you can find us on Gmail, boysintheiceberg@gmail.com. As always, I've been Caleb Ader.
I'm sorry. Can you cut it?
And I'm Harley Davis.
We are the Boys in the Iceberg, and we will see you here next week.
Bye.